My name is Cassie Westland, and I'm reviewing my Iowa Reading Research Centers. So I have two websites and one article. So the article that I did was Juvenile Offenders' Perceptions of Academic Support, and it was written by Deborah K. Reed and Jade Wexler. So a little background about the article is it was conducted in a juvenile justice center, hence the title. It was conducted on 3 different sites throughout the center, and the data that was collected, it was collected by student interviews, focus groups, teacher interviews, observations, and student surveys. So that's how they got all their data. So the negative experience with teachers is many of the students who are in the juvenile facility feel that they lacked a connection with their teachers, which is why they didn't have as much effort in school. So they think that the negative impact with a teacher can, in some cases, lead to a higher rate of these students going into the juvenile justice facilities. So that's what they are guessing is the connection between the teacher's support and the students' effort into school. So some of the challenges that juvenile offenders have is many of the students in the juvenile facilities were of racial or ethnic minorities, and most of them were males. So in the survey that they had, I think it was like over 75% were males. Typically, they came from a low-income family, and they have demonstrated a lower academic ability compared to their peers. So when they were assessed, they had typically a lower academic performance. So some of the sites, out of the 3 sites, 2 of them said that the JJ facility was more caring, which JJ facility just stands for Juvenile Justice Facility. So they perceived that they were more caring and more supportive than the outside community that they were in before. And that was site 1 and 2. However, site 3 said they did not feel a lot of support from the facility. So my last point is what to the juvenile justice students feel is supportive as a teacher. What is a supportive teacher? So to them, sites 1 and 2 said that a supportive teacher was a teacher who was breaking down words that they struggled with, giving them encouragement and encouraging motivation to apply themselves. And all the sites agreed that a caring and supportive teacher would help them when they're struggling. They would walk around the classroom instead of sitting behind their desk, because they perceived a teacher who was sitting behind their desk to be less supportive because they didn't want to interrupt their own work. So it comes down to the fact that they didn't want to ask for help when they thought the teacher was busy. So they thought that a caring teacher would give them assistance when they're confused, and they would not just pass out worksheets. So basically, the findings of this article was that a teacher needs to consider the amount of worksheets we give along with other instructions, because sometimes that can lead to a disconnect with the students. And they feel that students who lack the support of a teacher can have the disconnect in the school, which sometimes can, as I said before, can lead to an increase in students going to the JJ facility. So we just need to make sure that we have as much support in the community as it is perceived to have in the juvenile justice facility. So onto my website is the first one I had is Nursery Rhymes Not Just for Babies. So this is from the website Reading Rockets. So some of the positives I found was that the rhyme and the rhythm of the nursery rhymes benefits sound and syllables. So it helps the students who may be struggling with identifying sound and syllables get that repetition through the nursery rhymes. And then another thing I found throughout their website is it can be used for a range of children, not just younger kids or babies as it is perceived. Another great thing about the website is it has a lot of interactive activities, which, it's such as making words, watching a TV program, and then having an activity along with that. However, the downside um, to all these interactive activities is sometimes parents may not have the resources that is needed, such as, they can watch the TV program, but then the parents would have to make the activity for them, and an issue of time management sometimes with the parents not being able to help. Another great thing about this website was it gives you a lot of resources for nursery rhymes to use, and it also gives you that poetry is a good thing to use. However, the really, really negative side of this is that there is no research to completely back what they are saying. So what they're saying a lot of times can be perceived as just their opinion, and there was no research to say, yes, we've studied children, a certain group of children, and this is the result. It was just kind of what they thought. So that's something to consider also. The next website I found was When Should You Correct Your Child's Mistake? And this was a video from Great Schools website. This video had a lot of positives, but then a lot of negatives. It kind of goes either way. The first positive, the first positive of it is that it gives a child's perspective, so you're able to see it from a child's point of view. However, it was pretty poorly shot. So, you got the information from a child, but it sometimes didn't really it couldn't really be connected to what was going on in the video. A good side is they gave a lot of tips for parents, but then the downside is a lot of the tips were repetitive, and it's like, well, when do you know when to give the tip? Is kind of like the whole point, is like you're supposed to know when you can correct your child's mistake. However, it wasn't always clear on when you should jump in and give the tip. And the big negative, it was poorly presented, and it was about a minute. So it was a minute of just a little girl speaking and not giving really many much feedback of what was going on. So that is my PowerPoint. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot from it.